Hi, welcome back to the Greystone demonstration garden. Today we're going to be talking about our winter garden. We're going to be planting a lot of varieties that you may not be aware of, so we'll be able to expand your palette and provide more produce for your table. The foundation to any good gardening is the soil. Here at Greystone, we're using a method called no-dig gardening. That means that we have our beds already in place, we have mulch on top of it, and we are ready to garden without a lot of labor. But now we're just going to plant our transplants, and we're going to water them, and we're going to make sure that we fertilize throughout the year. The benefits of no-till gardening, most importantly, is that we're using 1/3 less water per week. We used to water 3 times a week, now we're only watering twice a week. For that reason alone, you should consider this method. The second reason is it's a lot less work. You know, it used to take us a lot longer to amend the beds. Now we can do it very quickly. All we have to do is add some manure and mulch once we pull out something, and then just part the mulch and transplant when we put something new in. So this is my Merlot cabbage. This is a Chinese cabbage that's beautiful ornamentally and also delicious for things like making kimchi. It's something I've never grown before, and one of the great things about the winter garden is that we have so many more varieties that we could grow. I'm also going to add a little bit of compost in with my soil. And one of the reasons we get to do that is because the summertime it's very, very hot. And so a lot of times these plants will not do well. And then also in the wintertime, we have less pests than in the summertime. We have less disease than in the summertime. So for that reason, it's also a little bit easier to grow at this time of year. And then I'm going to give it a little water. One of the dilemmas of the winter garden is what summer fruits or vegetables are we going to keep? We don't want to take out everything, especially those that are doing really well. This guy here is Turkish orange eggplant. Was very productive this year. It put out a lot of fruits, and I noticed it was still really healthy. I cut it back about 2/3, and I'm going to allow it to refruit. The leaves are looking beautiful. I'm already getting flowers. And so I think this is going to overwinter. Some of the other plants that we're allowing to overwinter is we have some Cherokee tomato in the tall cage in the back here. I have some tromboncino that I want to save for seed. I have some Japanese eggplants that I'm growing over here that aren't ready to come out. And also we have a lot of hot peppers. Some of the hot peppers will overwinter, like the serranos or the habaneros. And so we're going to keep some of those to see if we can get more peppers throughout the winter. As part of our winter garden, we're not only planting transplants, but also seeds. When we plant potatoes, we're actually planting the potato itself, but it's called a potato seed. I'm digging a hole about 2 or 3 inches into the soil. I'm going to plant my potato eyes up. This is where the new growth is going to emanate from. I'll place it in the ground, put the soil over it, pat it down. I'll water it. Done. Move on to the next one. Now we're going to plant our lettuce seed. When we're planting lettuce, I'm going to make a little trench in the soil, about 1/4 of an inch deep. You don't want to make it too deep because then the seeds won't have the energy to reach the surface. So barely just enough for it to cover. I'm going to put a little into my hand, and I'm going to put it between my forefinger and my thumb, go back and forth like that, like I'm putting salt onto a dish. And then I'm also going to be moving my arm as I go through the row. So I'll start at one end, start back and forth with the forefinger and the thumb, and then make sure it all gets filled up, and then that's it. I don't want to overseed because I'm going to have to thin it out. The distance between the lettuce is going to be about 6 or 8 inches. But right now I'm going to cover it up. I'm going to pat it down. I'll give it some water. And then I'm going to and we have our first row of lettuce planted. So one of the great things about planting lettuce is that you could stagger it throughout the season. We're not planting all of our seeds at one time. I'm going to plant some today. I'm going to wait about 3 or 4 weeks. I'm going to plant another row, and then 3 or 4 weeks, another row. And then that way we can have lettuce throughout the year. So if you enjoy salads with your meals, you're going to want to stagger that throughout the season. Okay, so now that we've talked about all the different kinds of vegetables you can grow through the winter garden, I hope that you expand your palette and grow a lot more things that you may not have thought about initially. I want you to think of your garden like a painting. The tools are your brushes and the vegetables are your palette. And that way you can make a 3D painting and be able to enjoy it at the table at the same time. Have fun.